Not sure how many people are gonna watch this, but I hope you are, because I think it's really cool, really interesting, and I spent a lot of time on it. I did my project on the 4-day school week. Sounds great, right? Yeah? All right, so when did it originate and why? It was originally intended to save money. It was first introduced in 1972 in Cimarron, New Mexico, to cut electric and transportation costs during their energy crisis. So, it was mainly intended for rural districts in which students spent up to 4 hours on a bus just to get to school. This doesn't include the time that it takes for them to get home from school. That's like driving from here to Salt Lake every day. That's insane. So obviously that would save a lot on transportation costs. It was limited to school districts with under 500 enrolled students, but New Mexico later raised that to 1,000 students. I'm sure they hoped to see educational benefits, but they didn't expect it, and they did see it. There was educational benefits. So, super, super neat. The 4-day school week is most predominant in rural areas of New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Oregon. So I found this quote. I really like it. It's by Joyce Lee, the director of the Northwest Regional Educational Laboratory in Portland, Oregon. She said, "The 4-day school week was probably one of those few decisions made in education in the name of money that actually ended up having educational benefits in terms of the academic performance of kids." This is huge. You know, we're always trying to find ways to save money in education, and now not only did we save money, but we're seeing academic performance improve. So some advantages. Of course, it's cost effective, not only in electric, gas, transportation costs, school lunches. There's so many reasons it's cost effective. Less transition time. Now, by transition time, I don't know if this is a real term, but whatever. I mean those 5 minutes that it takes when you come into class and get your book out and do your bell ringer, talk to your friends, that 5 minutes, you all know those pointless 5 minutes I'm talking about. And the 5 minutes at the end where we all pack up, right? That's lost. A lot of that transition time is kicked out the door with the 4-day school week. Higher attendance. Schools that have switched to a 4-day school week have seen higher attendance in students and teachers. Sports schedules. We've all been in a classroom on a Friday, mostly secondary, when there's either like half your class is missing or the teacher is gone because they're a coach, right? That happens a lot, especially in small schools. Extra rest. This is my favorite advantage. Human beings, we want more leisure time. That's so important. And that's what we're getting here. We're getting a 3-day weekend every single weekend. It's wonderful. How could you not like that? That's my favorite. Academic improvement. Schools that have switched to a 4-day school week have seen, usually, most of them have seen academic improvement. Reduced disciplinary referrals. This one kind of surprised me, but it is something schools that have switched have seen, which is good. Staff recruitment. You do you, but if I had to choose between a 4-day school week and a 5-day school week in the same area with the same pay, I'm going to choose the 4-day school week. Simple as that. And finding Friday subs, this goes along with sports schedules. Something that I've seen here in Carlin, though, every single Friday, without a fail, we get sent out an email. We're short so many subs today. We need the following teacher coverage. And it's like, dude, we shouldn't have to do that every Friday. It's already hard enough for us to get subs in rural areas or smaller towns. like, let alone every single Friday. And they don't get the subs because they can't find the recruitment for the subs. So that's a big one locally. Some disadvantages: longer days. It's really not that much longer though, but it is longer by about a little over an hour longer. Holiday schedules. Some people say we may have problems with scheduling holidays, like the time off for holidays. Childcare. That's a big one. When I asked the principal out here in Carlin what he thought any disadvantages were, he said finding a babysitter on Fridays, which I'm sorry, like, that's a personal issue. We're not a babysitting service. Teachers are not like nannies. We're here to educate your children, not be a child care facility. So, as long as we're providing the same education, child care is your problem. Sorry. Maybe that's me. Oops. District operations continuing on Friday. Okay, so take Elko County, for instance. Right now, we do have some schools with 4-day school weeks, which we'll get to later. But district central office is still operating on Fridays. So are we really cutting that much cost? Maybe that's something people say could be a disadvantage. Or if teachers still have to come on Fridays. Some people do that too. Pay scale. Will teachers be paid the same if we're getting a 4-day school week? Or will we get paid different? That could be a problem. Juvenile crime. So going back to those sports Fridays, this is so stereotypical, but it is what research shows. Usually the kids that are never gone on Fridays are not involved in anything. And oftentimes those students are relatively troublesome, and maybe school is a really safe environment for them and a stable environment for them. And so people have seen that there's been an increase in juvenile crime, right? Like parties, all that fun stuff, not good stuff. They've seen an increase in that. Sometimes that could be a problem we could run into. No guarantee of academic improvement. So yes, some schools have had it when they switched to a 4-day school week, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. But I mean, academic improvement is never guaranteed, or performance, right? So many factors go into that. Like, that's a whole nother presentation. Less time for extracurriculars. So now school's getting out little after 4. So when are we getting home from practice? Like 8 o'clock? When are we going to eat dinner? That's a lot of questions that parents bring up. Losing momentum. And by momentum, we mean that educational momentum, like that feeling you get the Monday after a 3-day weekend when you go back to work or school. You know that feeling, right? We know that feeling because it's not a habit. That's a disadvantage people bring up. Will it be like that every Monday? Could be. I don't know. I personally don't think it would be, because I think it'd be your new schedule. You're going to be adapted to it. But some people really think that you'll just forget everything you learned last week, which if that's the case, then you're probably not really learning, right? You're just like memorizing. But I don't know. That's just me. So here, locally, we have 3 rural schools that have a 4-day school week, and for good reason. We've got Independence Valley, which is in Tuscarora. I couldn't even find a picture of that school. We've got Mound Valley in Jigs. That school looks smaller than my garage. We've got Ruby Valley in Ruby Valley, and that's like literally smaller than my house. So these schools are really small, so small in fact, they have 1 teacher and 1 teacher aide. That's it. That's their staff. I didn't find the number of students enrolled, but it can't be that much, right? If they have 1 teacher. I know we used to have Montello as a rural school as well. They actually closed. Now those students, if any at all, I'm sure there are some, I don't know. I've never been to Montello, but they go to Wendover apparently now. They have to bus to Wendover. So yes, these schools have a 4-day school week already, which makes sense to me. in addition to these rural schools, which are really small, we have slightly bigger schools called combined schools. We have 4 of them here in Elko County. We've got Carlin Railroaders. We've got Owyhee Braves. We've got Jackpot Jaguars. And we've got Wells Leopards. Okay, so these are combined schools. What we mean by that, if you've never been to them, we mean elementary, junior high, high school, all in one school. So still pretty small, not smaller than my garage small, but still pretty small. And these schools are kind of in the process of becoming 4-day school weeks as well. Wells, in particular, you may have heard, is our pilot school for this. So I looked into that a little bit more. Here's their bell schedule at Wells. So they do have a block schedule, A-Day, B-Day. They go to school at 8 a.m. and they leave at 3:45. That seems very reasonable to me, right? Like 8 a.m. to about 4. That's an extra hour. That is not even, I'm sorry, longer days, that doesn't seem like it's so much longer. I really like this. Personally, I've never had a block schedule. Not really. But I think it's good. I think I like it because it prepares them for college, especially this schedule. There's not a Friday, right? It's just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They're going to each class twice a week for about an hour and 40 minutes. Sounds like what I do right now in college. I think that's so good. And they have to learn how to manage their time with that and do their homework and study. And that's just so important. It's kind of interesting. Their last little bit of the day, 3:15 to 3:45, is merit. So that's like enrichment or intervention. I don't know too much about that, but that seemed pretty cool to me. Side note. So I want to show you these. On the district website, you can find the 4-day school week calendar and the regular 5-day week calendar. I compared them. So this is the 5-day school week calendar. I'm not going to go through every single day with you like I did with myself, but I promise you, every single holiday break is the same. We have the same days off. There's one difference. Right here, probably can't see it in this tiny video, but I hope you can. 5-day school week, 180 total days. We go to the 4-day school week calendar. Only difference, 150 school days. That's it. So that whole, there could be problems scheduling holidays. No, it works. It's the same. So that was pretty neat. I called Brent Judy. He's the vice principal out at Wells High School. And he was really nice. I set up a phone interview with him. And pretty much everything he told me is everything we already talked about. But he said his biggest positive was student and teacher attendance went up. He said that missed school for school-related activities dropped over 50%. He said the biggest negative he hears and sees himself is concern of the little ones, as in kindergarten, getting tired. I don't know. Kindergarten used to be half days, and now it's a full day. So maybe that extra hour really does affect them. So I asked him, I'm like, do you think that a good solution to this would be going back to half day kindergarten? And he agreed, but he said getting that passed through the state probably will never, ever happen again. And that's fair enough. He's incredibly right. But I do think that'd be a good solution. Why not go back to half-day kindergarten, right? Or that extra hour, give them more like playtime. I don't know. I feel like there's a better solution for that than just complaining about long days. Oh, I want to show you. So I was gonna copy these slides into my slide show, but I feel like that's borderline plagiarism. And if I remake it, it's the same thing. So I'm just gonna show you. Wells submitted their data comparison with the 4-day school week compared to their 5-day school week. They submitted that to the school board recently. And I'm not gonna go through this whole thing with you guys, but I wanna show you a few slides that really stood out to me. So this slide here compares the staff days absent comparison. So this blue is last year and the orange is this year. So at the elementary school, our attendance, our absent days decreased, which is good. And the high school, our absent days for staff also decreased quite a bit. That's good, really good. Okay, I like this slide. So, the blue and the orange on this graph represent unexcused, and the gray and the yellow represent excused, as in school-related activities, that kind of thing. So at the elementary school, our unexcused went down, and just a smidge, our excused absences, look how far that dropped, even at the elementary level. Okay, and then we look at the junior high school, and our absences went up for unexcused, and they barely went up for excused. So, I mean, yeah, junior high, they're slacking. But the high school, our unexcused absences went up, but our unexcused went down a lot, which is those sports schedules I was talking about. Okay. All right, this one is the average daily attendance comparison. This doesn't have really good results. So again, orange is current. Elementary, our attendance went up a lot in elementary. Junior high school, overall, I mean, this is all attendance. This isn't excused, unexcused, right? Went down, and high school actually went down. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. Okay, this compares their reading scores of winter last year versus winter this year. I don't know if you guys are familiar with MAPS, but that's just like a progress tracking testing program. So 9th grade went down a little bit, our scores. 10th grade scores went up. 11th grade, our scores more than doubled in reading. And our seniors were slacking, went down like a lot. I promise I'm not going through all these, just a couple more that really stood out to me. This one shows the high school MAP scores, again, winter last year versus winter this year. So we see 9th grade, our scores went up. 10th grade, our scores went down a smidge, just by a couple points. 11th grade, again, they're rocking it this year. Their scores went up a ton. And seniors, again, were slacking, dropped just as much as reading did, unfortunately. All right, and here's elementary, their math score comparison from last year and this year. And kindergarten stayed about the same. First went about the same. Second went about the same, but still going up. Actually, all of them went up except for 4th grade and 5th grade. But overall, they're all pretty similar to each other. So really, elementary was kind of unaffected by the 4-day school week, which is good because I do think the main reason Elko County needs it in our combined schools, maybe even Elko and Spring Creek, is because of those sports Fridays. And so if we're doing it because of sports Fridays at the secondary level, as long as it doesn't hugely affect elementary and we're not seeing a decrease in academic performance, I don't see why not. You know, I think that overall, I really, really, really think the 4-day school week would be super beneficial. When I first started doing this, not gonna lie to you guys, I was really thinking, yeah, Elko and Spring Creek really need this. But as I got more into it, I'm like, no, the combined schools definitely need this. I think it'd be cool if Elko and Spring Creek got it, but they don't need it, right? The rural schools and the combined schools, they would really largely benefit from a 4-day school week. So I don't know if you guys can comment on this, but I hope you guys tell me what you think. So just one more small thing before I end. The school board meeting right before they made this Wells presentation, Jackpot's PTO put in to be a 4-day school week school. So I'm just going to read to you. It's so simple. When I first heard the PTO had to petition to be a 4-day school week, I'm like, dude, these schools are so small. They don't have a very strong PTO. Carlin just got one this year. But it's really simple what Jackpot had to do, and I actually printed it out and shared it with Carlin's PTO just to show them how easy it is. So it says, they address the school district board of trustees. It says, the PTO recently conducted a survey of all the parents in order to gauge interest about moving to a 4-day school week. More than half of the parents surveyed responded, and of those, 75% were in favor to moving to a 4-day school week. Based on those results, we would like to formally request that Jackpot Combined School move to a 4-day week beginning the 2019-2020 school year. Thank you for your consideration, Jackpot Jaguar PTO. That's really simple. They just held a vote and submitted. So we'll see if they get it. I'm assuming Carlin's gonna put in for it, and then I'm sure Owyhee will as well. So hopefully these combined schools get what they would really benefit from. It'll be interesting to see, and who knows? I mean, I think it'd be cool if Elko Spring Creek got it. But again, let me know what you guys think, because I like to hear people's opinions, even if you totally disagree with me, because I haven't heard many negative comments, and I would like to. Okay. And in case you care, here's my Works Cited page. Yeah, you can read that on your own time if you want to. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really worked hard on this, so I hope you enjoyed it. Found it interesting a little bit.